Hello, Biafrans. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We have come with another information. Today is another day. I pray that God will be with you and bless you going out and coming in. Biafrans, we are here for you. And if you are there for us, why don't you share and hit the subscribe and like button for us? Because if we are not here, enemies will stay to speak against us to the international communities. And that's why we insist that we must continue. All right, please keep supporting us and we'll keep doing that which we know how best to do for Biafrans. Here comes another update, and we pray that you please listen to the end. I'll be right back.
Why UN intervene in Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's case? Simon Ekpa gets mandate of 50 million Biafra.
UN's Special Rapporteur on extrajudicial summary or arbitrary executions has just ended a 2-week visit to Nigeria. Agnes Callamard has been looking at alleged abuses committed by security forces in the north and south, where a separatist movement has been gaining ground. Well, Callamard is warning the Nigerian government to address what she's calling a pressure cooker of violence that is claiming thousands of lives. Her report also highlights excessive use of force by police, leading to killings and lack of investigations and prosecutions for those committing human rights abuses. Well, Callamard says she found an absence of accountability and a lack of justice for victims. Well, Agnes Callamard joins us live now from Abuja. Agnes, thank you very much for joining us on the programme. That is a pretty long list there. Tell us more about what your visit to Nigeria has uncovered. I noticed the phrase in your press conference earlier, a pressure cooker of violence. So what did you find?
Well, I could not really use any other words than pressure cooker. I have found localized and countrywide patterns of violence that are simmering. And my main concerns with those localized and countrywide systems of violence is that they are now taking place in a context characterized by population explosion, by an increased number of people living in extreme poverty, by the proliferation of weapons coming from throughout the region of West Africa, and by the environmental degradations. So those external pressure applied on top of those ecosystems, eco-political systems of violence are ready to conflagrate, to explode in a way which I don't think we have yet completely understood. So my preliminary finding today was really to issue this warning both to the government and to the international community. There is in Nigeria a pressure cooker that, if it is unchecked, could have ripple effect throughout the regions. And now is the time to prioritize the rule of law and accountability for the people of Nigeria.
Agnes, you used the word crisis and said in your press conference that, you don't want the government to pretend this is not a crisis. But how do they view the situation that you bring up in your report?
Well, you will have to ask them. I don't think I have made any sharp or stark revelations to the government. Whether or not authorities are willing to admit the extent of the problem is a different matter. But in all my meetings with officials, in the majority of my meetings with officials, there is an acknowledgement of the scale and the extent of the problems. That gives me some hope that the authorities, with the necessary leadership and political will be able to begin a roadmap towards addressing the lack of accountability, towards ensuring that killings particularly by the police, but not only, that all the killings are investigated, that the systemic factors such as the lack of resources of the police, the lack of training, that all those resources issues are addressed. Let me remind you that Nigeria is a middle-income country. So I have approached the questions of arbitrary killings within that context, and what I have found is not in keeping with what I would expect from a middle-income country.
So Agnes Callamard, is what you're saying that there are resources that can be put to work in solving some of these problems, but the right priorities are perhaps not being made?
Yes, I believe that at the moment the rule of law and accountability have not been sufficiently prioritized. I can take for proof the fact that in 2006, one of my predecessors went on a mission, and when I compare what he has found with what I have found, there are so little differences between the two reports. It is shocking. They are 15 years apart. So now is the time to prioritize the rule of law and accountability. There is a securitization strategy to address many problems, but security without accountability is not a solution for the long term. I'm not even sure it's a solution for the short term. It's just a containment policy. A containment in 2019, when the country is confronting the global processes I have identified of population explosion, increased poverty, environmental degradation, that containment policy is not going to work. It's not going to work. So it is time, more than time, too much time has been wasted. It is time to prioritize the rule of law and accountability for the people of Nigeria, particularly for the 49 millions that are living in extreme poverty.
Did you find that there was any positive change?
Yes. Yes, I have found a few positive changes. Now, for instance, in the Northeast, you were mentioning the conflict against Boko Haram. In 2015-2016, that region was at the center of many concerns for human rights violations by Boko Haram, of course, but also by the security agencies. There was a vast number of allegations of arbitrary killing, disproportionate, indiscriminate bombing, disappearances, death in custody, massive death in custody, in fact. Now, those problems have not been investigated, and there is still not any accountability for those past violations. But the progress resides in the fact that allegations over the last 2 years, 2018 and 2019, have decreased. So, for instance, allegations of arbitrary deprivation of life there are far less of them than there were 3 years ago. That I take as a positive sign. Now I would like these positive signs to be, to those positive signs I would like to see steps taken to ensure accountability for past crimes. I would particularly like the many disappearances that have been brought to my attention by the children, the wives, the daughters and son of many disappeared men. I would like for those disappearances to be addressed as a matter of urgency, because the torture it is creating for the people left behind cannot be underestimated.
Agnes Callamard there joining us, UN Special Rapporteur. Thank you very much for joining us.